right, Mark, thank you so much for joining us. You know, you bring decades of experience in nuclear and cleanup, but I do want to focus right now on your time in Oakidge. So when you were leading here at OREM, what did you see on the horizon then, and how did your expectations, your ideas, how did that all play out for you?
Well, yeah, and I left here in 2014 to go back to headquarters. And if you look at what's happened since then, Vision 2016, right, with K27 coming down, the last of the 5 gaseous diffusion plants, Vision 2020 completing the demolition work at, the entire uranium enrichment complex, 4 years ahead of schedule, by the way, saving the taxpayer $500 million in life cycle cost. And then Vision 2024, which was just completed last year, which really completing the cleanup of the East Tennessee Technology Park. I've been very impressed, I've been very proud and in awe. Could I have envisioned everything that happened? No, but am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised either, because it's a great team.
Well, and you have this national view. What do you think it is that makes Oakidge stand out compared to other sites?
Yeah, first of all, there's great work being done across the complex. There really is. Whether it's at Savannah River or Hanford, in between, Idaho, Paducah, Portsmouth, West Valley, really great work. Also complex projects, right? And particularly over the last 5 years, I'd say that the program has been very successful, a lot of major milestones. It kind of, I think, hit an inflection point 5, 6, 7 years ago, and things just started really going well. But Oakidge, I'll go back to the partnership, right? That's so powerful. If you look at projects across the complex, and not just the environmental work and the cleanup and, for the EM program, but any project across the complex, partnerships are critical. They really help drive the success. They're not the only thing, but they help enable the success. And I think Oakidge is a model.
How do you think EM and Amentum are supporting the Secretary's vision for DOE?
Yeah, the Secretary has, has a pretty ambitious agenda he outlined early on. And one of his, I think, 8 or 9 priorities was unleashing commercial nuclear energy in the United States, right? Recognizing there are a lot of challenges here. There are challenges everywhere with the nuclear power expansion, but we have acute issues here, and we're behind in the U.S. There's a nuclear renaissance actually happening in the world. It's just not really, we're not there yet. We're on the cusp of it in the U.S. And so I think cleanup, which he has also highlighted and stressed the importance of since he's been in office, is really, like we said, enables that. We feel like there are capabilities that we have, not just in Oakidge. We have 9,000 employees in our energy and environment business, primarily focused on nuclear in 20 countries around the world, and really ranging the full life cycle, nuclear life cycle, from front-end permitting, regulatory, siting, to supporting large gigawatt new build programs in other countries, SMR development, engineering design support, engineering support for fuel fabrication facilities and enrichment facilities, obviously the back end, and support waste management and the rest of the fuel cycle.
What perspective do you have now that you're looking at things globally too? I mean, where do we need to catch up? What insights have you gained working at Amentum?
Yeah. Well, I will say that the challenges that we're facing in the U.S. when it comes to nuclear are not unique necessarily to the U.S. There are nuances in different countries. The fact is, we talk about the nuclear renaissance and being behind in the U.S., but the nuclear renaissance, unfortunately, in my view, is being driven by state-owned enterprises from Russia and China, who have it's an uneven playing field, right? They have the benefits that the private companies, like our Western companies, U.S. companies, do not have. So that's a challenge, and we have to regain our footing, because there are a lot of reasons for that. One, obviously for our energy security in the U.S. And the huge electricity needs that we see, particularly as electricity growing as a percentage of overall energy, the AI economy, and the massive requirements there from the hyperscalers. Nuclear is essential. It's essential to the future as we currently envision it, and we want it to be, and we want to lead the global AI economy. So it's important, and nuclear is we're gonna have to have bridge, bridges like gas, but nuclear has to be there over the next 10, 20, 30 years to enable this. And from a geopolitical perspective, you know, our lunch is being eaten right now by these state-owned enterprises. Not because our companies can't compete, that we don't have better technology, that we don't have better people and better technical skills, but the advantages that these state-owned enterprises have is a challenge. But the good news is other Western countries also have had these challenges. They've made advances over the past 5-10 years. We're seeing new gigawatt reactors being built in the UK. We're a delivery partner for Sizewell C and Hinkley Point C for that customer, EDF. We're supporting Poland on their new build project, which is U.S. technology, Westinghouse technology. You know, Norway and Netherlands and Czechia, we're doing work for those countries as they explore expanding or introduction of nuclear. We will get there. We know what the challenges are. We have policies now. We have, I think, over the past several years, advances that will help us get there, right? We have a current administration that has, you know, kind of offered its full-throated support of nuclear. That's huge because some of the challenges, you know, are related to financing. If you look at nuclear power expansion, projections from 40% to 2.5 times over the next 25 years current capacity. I mean, that's huge. That's a lot of new reactors, you know, gigawatt and SMRs. So is there the capacity? Is there enough money to go around? You know, is there the workforce there, supply chain, EPC capacity, all those things? Again, we're not the only ones, you know, facing those challenges in the U.S. So it can be done. We've seen ways that it can be overcome, including through creative, you know, financing, creative contract structures. You know, in the U.S. we have right now, you know, U.S. providing loan guarantees and tax credits. That definitely helps. We need private investment, and so the projects have to look less risky. We have to start, you know, completing projects. And I think as we continue and maybe get to serial production on some of these larger projects, we'll get, you know, gain the confidence and de-risk some of the projects, and so that will flow as well.
Where do you see Oakidge in the next few decades?
Yeah, I really see right now that Oakidge is at the tip, you know, of the spear, you know, kind of leading the charge from a community standpoint, and it's really exciting to see, you know, both from afar and then be part of, you know, the Oakidge community. Even though I don't live here anymore, I still feel like it's, you know, I'm part of the community.
We'll claim you, Mark.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You might be the only one that's ever said that. I think with the announcement by Orano investment in the new enrichment facility, Kairos and their Hermes demonstration reactor, Triso X fuel fabrication. You know, we have you know, just companies that have one after the other expressed a commitment and are moving forward with large projects. And so really, particularly when it comes to advanced fuel cycle, I think Oakidge is going to be a leader.
Well, and looking ahead, you recently made an exciting announcement at EET Tech. So talk to us about that, and what is the significance to Oakidge and the nuclear community?
Yes, we have established a nuclear center of excellence here in Oakidge, Amentum Center of Excellence. We're very excited about that. We have a lot of capabilities in Oakidge, as I mentioned. We have the U-Corps, also very proud of the work they do, a lot of technical capabilities there. But from a corporate standpoint, we've had for years a design center of excellence on the nuclear side, operating out of Oakidge, right, by Big Ed's, and we have some very senior Amentum executives working out of the Oakidge office, focused on nuclear already. We have Cheryl Cabell that leads, you know, our support for all the DOE and NNSA work that we do. We have John Eschenberg, who's here, who will now be leading our nuclear center of excellence. So our idea is for this to be our hub, the Amentum hub, for support to the nuclear resurgence. First of all, in Oakidge, right, helping Oakidge be that hub, but also to support the rest of the country. So, you know, kind of emanating from Oakidge, the Amentum capabilities, and bringing in, you know, our global, you know, capabilities and resources as well, and building this up as a co-location point for us to really advance what we do, but also advance the nuclear renaissance at the same time, or nuclear resurgence.
Well, and based on everything that we just talked about, why did it make sense to do this now?
Well, I think what's happening in Oakidge is special, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I haven't seen anything like this in my lifetime, where you've seen so many different companies coming in that are really on the edge, cutting edge of new technology, but also, you know, near deployment in many cases. And Oakidge is a great place to live, by the way, and a great place to work. So we'd love to have our folks be able to experience that. East Tennessee and in general, Anderson, Roane counties, they're just fabulous for so many reasons. We loved our time here, but I think just kind of where Oakidge is and the seriousness with which the community has, you know, placed its efforts in this area, and when you have a community like that that's really behind it, you know, and a state, by the way, with Governor Lee, you know, making investments into Oakidge, into nuclear specifically, that's a good place to be.
Okay, thank you so much, Mark.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you joining us today.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.